Don't let your dreams be just dreams. Just do it. Welcome to the Successory Show, episode 12. I was about to put like 2 fingers up, but that would only be like 2. I guess I'm not ready for the episode 12. Well, again, welcome to Successory Show, episode 12. And this one is about setting your standards. I am joined as always by Riley Presnell, which is wonderful. We are a day late, but this actually will be out on time because we just traveled this weekend for a seminar at Surge Noodles Gym in Chicago. Great trip, great crowd, great seminar. Everything went really, really well. And I really enjoyed my time with you there, and I enjoyed everybody there. How did you feel about it?
It was really good. I know Sergio asked me after the fact what we thought about it, and it was probably the best lead off to a seminar series like there could have been, I feel like. And I told him that. I was like, it was a great group. I think there were like 17, 18 people maybe.
18 people, yeah. Not including Sergio and Jackie.
Yeah, okay, so,
20
people. And they were all really interactive. They asked a lot of questions. They wanted to know things. No one was hesitant about coming up during the technique portion. Like normally, the last couple ones that I've gone to with Trevor, it has been, like everyone's kind of shy. They don't hop up when he's like, all right, who wants to break down squats? Everyone just kind of like looks at each other like, who goes?
He's gonna pick me apart.
Yeah, but this time it was like people were jumping up at the same time, and it'd be like, oh, you can go first, and like there was a line. So I thought that was really cool, and Jackie and Sergio always put on great events. We praised them for the meet that they ran.
One of the nicest gyms I've ever been to as far as powerlifting facilities. It's insane.
Yeah, and they really like what they're doing, and they don't necessarily care about how much money an event makes them. They just want the community to grow and get stronger and get better. So really, Surge New Levels kind of set the bar pretty high.
The standard. Yeah, he did set the standard. So we kicked out of the gate with that one, which is kind of cool. So he did set the standard. And Greg said something really, really interesting. Greg Panora was my co-host for this seminar, and he started the seminar talking about how we had never actually met until the day before when I picked him up from the airport. We've spoken several times online. We've had an online friendship, but it was the first time that we'd ever actually met when I picked him up. And he said, and this goes along with setting a standard, one of the things he said is when I reached out to Trevor about doing a seminar together, he goes, I did that because I wanted to learn from him, and vice versa. I like learning from Greg and the whole nine. He set a standard that he wasn't satisfied, even though this is an all-time world record holder, a West Side lifter, a Raw world record holder. He's done 100 seminars on his own. He set the standard that he wasn't done learning and said, who do I want to learn from? Let's see if we can do a seminar together. So then we kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We're offering information to the community and also learning from each other, which is really, really cool. And that's what this episode is about, is setting your standard, both in a good way, like Greg was demonstrating, and in a bad way of eliminating distractions and negativity and people in your life that take away from you versus add to you. You are in charge of that standard.
Yeah, and your point about Greg being an all-time world record holder and still wanting to learn from you is also interesting because Greg's been in the sport for 20 plus years. You've been in the sport for 20 plus years, and who else showed up to the seminar was Julia and Christian Anto. And Julia's been in the sport for 20 plus years and is a well-known figure within powerlifting among bodybuilding as well, and in nutrition. And she was still there wanting to learn from other people, learn from her peers, and continue her education. So all 3 of you, Greg, and Julia, even though you've been doing this for a long time, and like most people look up to you guys and aspire to be even half as knowledgeable as you guys are, you are still continuing your education. Like you realize that you can learn something from everyone. Like it doesn't matter if they've only been in the sport for a couple of years. Like you can learn something from somebody who's been in the sport for a year and vice versa.
Right, and we had someone who had just completed his first powerlifting meet literally 2 weeks before the surge meet that we had done as well. And he mentioned his total, like he was kind of shy about it. He didn't mention his total because there were some people in the room who had much higher totals or much higher achievements. And I kind of reminded him that that was his first meet. That will be his lowest ever total he ever achieves, because everything he's going to learn and develop and do now will exceed that and grow from there. And he'll remember that always as his starting point. But more importantly than his first ever meet was he had lost 120 pounds before he even got to the meet. Like he's changing his life entirely. And again, he set a standard for himself. He wasn't going to accept certain things. And that's really what this is all about. And it was really awesome to have such a diverse people. There was a few people who haven't yet competed. And like you said, Julia was there, who's done multiple contests, single ply, raw, figure, and as a nutrition coach, has been a Lead FTS sponsored athlete as long as I can remember, and was there. It was really cool to have that dynamic group of people who were learning together and sharing knowledge with each other.
Yeah, and you and I talked on the plane about this because Trevor was like, are you sure you're not bored here. I'm sure you're not bored hearing me say the same things all the time and hearing my same spiel every time. And I was like, well, no, I love this sport just as much as you do. And so me coming to the seminar, even if I generally hear you say the same things often, I take different tidbits of information each time. It's almost like the information hits a little differently the third time that you've heard it, or you learn a better way to apply it. Or like in this case, we're looking at 20 different people that are all built totally differently, and while they may have the same issue, solving the same issue won't be the same because maybe they're not built the same, or maybe the same cue doesn't take. So for me, I never shy away from an opportunity where I can learn something, even if it's from someone that I live with, work with, and train with 24/7, because I can still always learn from Trevor. I don't know everything just because I'm with Trevor. I know things because I ask, and I continue to put myself in situations with him and among other people that know more than me in order for me to learn.
What I heard from that is I repeat myself 3 times, which is accurate.
Well, it's not wrong, but just like the way I think over time, with you doing multiple seminars and all the videos that you put up, you learn different ways to convey a message, or you learn different ways to perfect a way that you're already a way to perfect something that you're already doing. So the first time you say it may fumble a little bit, right? But then when you get to like the 4th time that you say it, it just rolls right off the tongue and it makes total sense to everyone. So for me, I am always going to want to put myself in a situation because my standard for my education is like way up here, and I feel like I'm not even halfway there yet. So I'm always going to continuously put myself in situations where I can learn more, and I can hopefully achieve that standard one day. But I know once I hit that standard, I'm not going to be satisfied with it. Because,
you'll elevate your standards.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll continue to raise my standards the more that I learn. So I'm always going to be constantly chasing what it is that I don't know, because when I start to think that I know everything, that's when I know nothing.
Yeah, that's when you've lost your ability to learn, is when you think that you know everything, or you've created such a bias and strong belief that you have dogma that you're no longer going to be able to learn. And that is something that's really, really dangerous. And that comes from the standards you set for yourself as far as your education. Approaching, asking, not just me, but you would ask Greg questions, you ask Julia questions there, you ask Christian Anto questions there, you talk to Sergio about how he does things and what they're looking to achieve. And that's really what your standards are, is what you want and what you do not wish to have. And that's what we're talking about here when we say setting your standard, because I'm not asking you to be obsessed with your goal, but understand that if you do have a goal, you're going to have to prioritize it, and then you're going to have to say, what standards do I need to set for myself? So let's talk about the positive standards. Is if I've labeled a goal that I want, you can make it any arbitrary goal. I want to reach this number, this total, or I want to squat this, or I want to lose this amount of weight, or I want to achieve this in business. Whatever your goal is, you then have to decide, what are your minimum standards to achieve that? And every day you're making sure you set those standards. If it's something that's health related, say weight loss, okay, what are my calorie standards? When do I have to have my food prepared by? When do I have to have my meals written out so I know what I'm eating so I can stick to those standards? How much sleep do I need to get? How much exercise do I need to get? Who do I need to be accountable to make sure I'm sticking to this? And so forth. And it travels that way for every single goal you have. You want to find out, what are your minimum standards? Your goal every day should be to exceed your minimum standards. And then the other side of that coin is, what will you not allow? And that's really more important, because anything that you are allowing that is taking away from your goal is your choice. You will have the power to not allow people. And if it came to that same weight loss goal, you have a buddy who likes to go out drinking and he's inviting you out drinking, well, if that's your true goal, you're not going to allow that. You have to have that firm talk with your friend and say, hey, I can't go out there every Saturday drinking because I have this goal, and it means a little bit more to me right now. When I achieve this goal, we'll revisit this conversation, see if we can work something out. Or somebody in your life who, a gym partner who never shows up and you're frustrated and tired, don't allow that. Kick them out of your circle. That's known as an energy vampire. And people will bitch and moan and complain, my knee wrapper didn't show up, my training partner didn't show up, or my program didn't get there in time, which it should, by the way. Whatever reason you have, that is the standard that you allow. If you are complaining about something publicly to everyone, but not actually changing the behavior, you set that standard. That's like our call-out episode, it's your fault. You're allowing that behavior to happen over and over again. That is your choice, that is your standard. When you raise your standards and don't allow those behaviors to happen, that person will either match you or make their way out of your life, which is probably more ideal if they're detracting from your goal. And that's really hard for people to understand. I kicked a lot of people out of my life, my mother included. She didn't match my goal.
Yeah, I mean, I think this applies to more than just powerlifting too. So you can think about this in many different aspects. You know, you can think about this at work, where if you are constantly going, let's say above your pay grade to do something that you're not getting compensated for, but you're consistently saying that, no, it's okay, it's not a big deal to your boss, that, you know, oh, I know I'm not getting paid for it, it's okay, I'll do it this time. You're consistently allowing your boss to think it's okay to abuse your time and not pay you for it. That's the standard you set for yourself. And, you know, as far as relationships go, if you are not a fan of the way that someone talks to you, or you're not a fan of the way that someone acts in a certain situation, but instead of speaking up, you just let it go, you're allowing that person to continue to treat you in a way that doesn't make you feel good about yourself. So this applies to more than just powerlifting. I mean, obviously this is our sport, so like this is what we talk about, but it is really important that your, like Trevor said, your training partners or your actual partner or your work partners, business colleagues, whatever, boss,
or teammates underneath you.
Yeah,
what are you allowing?
It's important that you are setting that standard for yourself, because what you allow is what you get, essentially. So if I continue to, and this is self-imposed as well. So if I continue to skip my accessories, the standard that I set for myself is that I'm too lazy to do my fucking accessories. So I'm not going to continue to not do those, because I'm like, well, I already didn't do them 4 days this week, so the 5th day won't hurt. That's the standard that I set for myself, right, that I don't need to do accessories.
Subpar standards, and hence the name of the show, the Successory Show, and that's the whole point of those accessories are leading to your success. And that's not even just in gym. We joke about that, but that's really in life. You know, simple things people talk about all the time, from success mindset of making your bed, brushing your teeth, taking your shower. Simple hygiene things that are good habits that we should be doing every day are what lead to our success. So creating more good habits with your accessories or your successory work, these are the things you have to do to achieve something. That's the successory mindset.
Yeah. I worked in corporate, and I know Trevor did for a long time before doing coaching, but I worked in corporate up until about 2 years ago, I think is when I quit. It's probably been about 2 years now.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, and you know, I worked in something corporate my whole life, and I'm the type of person who will take on more than I can probably handle, but I'll still get it done anyways, because I'm too stubborn to quit or not say yes to something. So in being managers of, you know, vitamin shops and GNCs and things, I would take on a lot of extra tasks that I didn't need to, but I did because I either wanted them done what I would say, quote unquote, the right way is, or I wanted to look good for someone else, but I was only getting paid for 45 hours a week because I was salary. I ended up essentially clocking 60 hours a week and getting paid nothing for those 15 hours. And all that happened was that my boss took advantage of the fact that I would do those things and would just expect those things from me, and then I would get burnt out. My training would suffer, sleep would suffer, my diet would fall apart, everything else fell apart because I was not holding myself to a standard of being valued by my boss. So he was just taking advantage of those things, and that didn't make me feel good. Everything else fell apart when that happened.
Right, and there's a cascade of domino effect that happens there. You became more frustrated. He had higher expectations of what you're willing to do, but we're never getting compensated for it. And there's a fine line there, because some people are like, well, if I go the extra mile, maybe they'll give me a raise. But that's the conversation you have first. Hey, I'm willing to do these extra things, provided you give me these extra things. You're setting that standard right there. There's a lot of books that talk about that as far as negotiating a raise. You are going to demonstrate the value you have and why you are worth it first, and then show it. Versus if you're just always basically kissing ass and doing everything they want from you, you're going to get frustrated because they're going to expect you to always do that and get nothing for it. Why should they pay you more for it if you're already doing it?
Without the pay, yeah.
Without the pay.
Yeah. The value aspect is, I think, what people miss out on a lot. I put myself in many situations where I have been devalued, and I really kind of have no one to blame but myself for those situations, because, like we're talking about, I allowed treatment to happen in a specific way that did not value the effort, or the value that I was given did not match the effort that I was giving. So it eventually burnt me out, and I had to make those changes, and it was very stressful, and it got so bad that it gets to the point where when I'm stressed out, I don't want to eat. I'm the opposite of Trevor. He likes to stress eat. Yeah. I won't eat, so I'll lose a bunch of weight because my body doesn't like to hold on to weight anyways. I'm very sorry, Paul. So I would lose a bunch of weight. My training would suffer. Everything suffered. I had a very negative mindset going into pretty much everything because I was feeling devalued in one aspect of my life. So I would have to make that change. And I don't blame anyone else for these things because I am ultimately in control of the value that I allow others to see in me. So that was a mistake that I made that I had to learn from and say, hey, I value myself, I value my skills, I value my time, and that starts with me. So I had to make that change in order to not allow someone else to take advantage of that.
And that's the really challenging part when it comes down to this, is establishing your own value. And that would be my challenge to you, to anyone who's watching this on YouTube or listening to the podcast on iTunes or Spotify or whatever. Establish your own value, all right? How do you see yourself? And then ask other people to see you in the same light. And then the crazy thing you should be doing is, how do you double it? So establish what you consider your value as, and then look at that and say, how do I double my value? What do I need to do to double my value? Who do I need to know? What do I need to ask? What do I need to learn? And what do I need to get to double my value? And that starts within you first. So you're gonna establish your value and then say, here's what I want to achieve. This is what my value is gonna be. Who should be in your life? Who should be out of your life? What habits do you need to create to get there, and so forth? And that's really something you should probably do. If you need to, pause this, like write down a list. What value do you place on yourself? What value do you want to be at? And then start plugging in between habits and behaviors and things that need to change. People that need to come out of your life. You're tired of fighting back and forth with your boyfriend or girlfriend? Maybe they don't value your time, get rid of them. There's other people out there, you're gonna find someone who does value you, or if it's worth it to you, then change your behavior so the relationship does work because you value them. And so forth. I'm not saying break up, I'm not saying get together, I'm just saying decide whether or not you value them or if they need to value you more, and then you can make your decision. Same thing with your work environment. If you don't think your work environment values you, then you need to establish into yourself what your value is and maybe take yourself somewhere else out of that environment, or build your own business, build your own brand, start your side hustle from there and start to see more value in yourself, because if you truly are worth the value you think you are, you'll work towards it. Mm-hmm. We work 10 times more than we ever did for corporate. I work 7 days a week, she works 7 days a week. Corporate, she was talking about working 60 hours, we're clocking like 80, 90 hours a week, but we value ourselves and we work for ourselves. So that doesn't bother us because we value it. Yeah. And that's what setting your standard is establishing your personal values and making sure that you do everything possible to protect them and keep them and elevate them.
One very simple experience, I guess, that Trevor and I have both had, being that we are self-employed. I always feel weird calling myself an entrepreneur. Like, I know that technically, like, that's like what we are, quote unquote, but it still just feels weird to me. But speaking from two self-employed people, how much we work or how well we do at our job dictates how much money we make. And in the past, I hope this doesn't come off across as snotty, but just for experience sake, I've had people in the past that message me and ask me about my rates. And when I tell them my rates, they will say, that's too expensive for me right now, could I get a discount? And that is probably one of my least favorite things that I probably hear or have to deal with, because I do get that people have a limited budget, but this is also how I make my living. Like, this is my job. This is my full-time job. It's my career. I make a living coaching. So if you break down, like, if you let's say that I'm charging $120 for coaching for every 4 weeks, that is $30 a week for coaching. That's not an astronomical amount of money for the amount of time that you put into something. Mm-hmm. So asking people to discount themselves always feels really shitty.
They devalue you.
Yeah,
if you allow that.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't make me feel good when someone tells me that I'm too expensive to work with and that they want a discount. So it's challenging, because you don't want to say, like, I know what I'm worth with like a hair flip and whatever to those people, but you do have to stop taking stop allowing people to take discounts from you, not even just physically, like from your price, but discounts off of your integrity and your value and whatnot, just because they don't think that it's as important to pay full price. And that's been really challenging. And this whole thing is like, I know what I need to make. I know what kind of client base I need to maintain in order to make a sufficient amount of money for me to live. And I can't just accept anyone who's willing to, I can't just give people discounts 24/7, because then I don't value myself as much anymore. And then everyone expects that from me too, because that person will say, hey, I asked for a discount and she gave me $20 off, and so I only pay this now. And so then that spreads word of mouth, and then here I am, the discount coach, and I don't make any money anymore.
And then what happens is you get frustrated with the client.
Mm-hmm.
You get very frustrated with yourself, and you get frustrated with the client. You think, well, I'm I'm not making what I should with this person in the first place, and they're starting to agitate me, and you just have a distaste for them and so forth. So I always tell people, you don't discount yourself. And if somebody else wants to devalue and discount yourself and say, thank you very much, not interested, that's all I ever say. Whenever somebody has asked me that, I've had multiple people say, wow, that's more than I expected. What can you do for me? I'm like, nothing. I can recommend some people who charge less. Have a great day. And that's all I do. Send them on their way. I don't need them. They're coming to me.
Yep. Yeah, it sounds snooty to be like, I'm more expensive than what you can afford, but like that's what I value my time at, right? So that's what I'm asking for. And especially in a business like coaching, where our phones are attached to us 24/7. I get text messages at 11 p.m. I get text messages at 3 a.m. I get text messages at 5 when I'm trying to eat dinner. So it's a constant. I am on, or any coach is on anyone else's time, right? So whenever someone else lifts, I try to turn my phone off past I'd say 10 p.m. I usually don't answer back past 10 p.m. But you're on someone else's time all the time. So I value myself at a certain amount. I value myself at a certain rate, and that's the rate that I will continue to hold, and I'm okay with that. That's basically what I'm getting at, and that's okay for you to set that standard for yourself also.
And I have my standard, so I'm not glued to my phone every time there's an alert notification. Majority of the notifications are shut off. My phone stays up to no disturb. I will check it every so often throughout the day, and I will get to your message because there's no such thing as a powerlifting emergency. Even when people are in meets, and I'll tell them, listen, you have 60 seconds to put your attempt in. You don't have time to Wi-Fi me a video and make me watch it and tell you what your next attempt is. We work this out ahead of time. You plan or you plan to fail. It's just as simple as that. If you have no plan, you plan to fail. So everything's worked out ahead of time, everything's understood ahead of time. They can communicate to me during certain times. They're actually on my time because that's what they're paying for is my time. I'm not on their time. If they want something or need something special, we work that out ahead of time too. But my phone's on do not disturb. I don't want to know until it's time for me to know and it's time for me to respond to you. Hence with social media, my standard, I will not get a significant amount of work done if I go on there because there's too many distractions, bells and whistles. I don't touch it till 2 p.m. I've made it clear on every podcast. I've made it clear in my emails. I send clients the guidelines and let them know I'm not on there until 2 p.m. If you want to reach me faster than that, your best chance is to email me, and I can't guarantee that it'll be before there because I answer emails at a certain time as well. But I'm not on there until 2 p.m. So you can send me 1,000 messages on there. I won't know until the afternoon.
Basically, what we're getting at is that it is okay to set your standard, even if it feels kind of like most of the time I feel kind of rude because I'm the type of I'm kind of a people pleaser in general. I try to do things that I know will make others happy and whatnot. And so for me to set that standard for myself and be really, really firm with it sometimes makes me feel like I'm rude or I'm an asshole. But then I realize I'm not. I value myself. I value my time. I value what I'm worth. So I am okay with being very firm and nope, this is what I'm worth.
That's also how you create responsibility and accountability. Because they now have to be accountable to when they're supposed to respond to you, when they're supposed to communicate to you. They're following a structure. Without structure, there's chaos. So all these standards set the cascade. Your dominoes either go up or they go down. And ideally, we want our dominoes to knock out bigger and bigger and bigger dominoes, not fall down to smaller and smaller and smaller ones. So that's why it's really important to set a schedule, set a standard, set a tone. Jokingly saying set a tone, it's kind of funny, but some people will get the reference or not. Set the tone. But we want to establish our own standards, and everyone will conform to your standards. And it's not an air of superiority, it's a necessity to do so. You have to have structure. You have to have a system. You have to have organization. I've said this before on our Coach Reporter podcast. We don't rise to our goals, we fall to our systems. So if you don't have systems in place, that's what you're going to crumble and crash down to. And especially when you need to organize multiple athletes, you have to have your own systems of organization to manage that.
I was looking for Subject Zero quotes this morning, and I saw a quote from Brene Brown. Is that
I think that's what it was, yeah.
And she said, if you have more than 3 priorities, it's something along the lines of if you have more than 3 priorities, none of them are a priority. And I found that really, really interesting. We've talked about multitasking and generally kind of joking about multitasking. Like I can cook dinner and also check my phone and do laundry at the same time because those are timed sequences for me. I know that I have 10 minutes before this rice is done, so I can switch over the laundry and then I can check a message. And we joke, Trevor always says, you can't multitask. I'm I do it literally every single day. But those are for more small, kind of mundane things. But I think if you're trying to give 100% effort to one thing and one goal, you can't obviously give any more percentage effort to the second one. So I thought what she said was interesting because if you're trying to get your best toll and be the strongest that you possibly can, but then you also want to be able to do a CrossFit WOD and run 17 miles and like whatever, like you're not going to be able to do both successfully if you're focusing on both.
Not as well as you could have if you had singularity of focus.
Right. Like, of course, there are freak athletes who can do both of those things really, really well, and I don't understand how that happens. But you can't, if you're prioritizing too many things or you have too many large goals and you're only putting 33% effort into each of these things, you're never going to achieve the amount that you want to with any of them. And then you're going to feel like you failed. And then most of the time when people feel like they failed, they give up and they stop trying. So when you want a certain thing, you have to go all in. I know that's what Greg said this week, is that like if you have a goal, you want to go all in, but that's absolutely true.
Yep. So what are your takeaways as far as setting your standards?
Don't devalue yourself because someone else does.
Yep. Don't devalue yourself. Set your standards. Decide what you want to accomplish. Work to double it. You know, that's how I look at it. It's like your standard is your short-term goal, and then if you could double it, that's your long-term goal. And you always want to be ascending upwards in life, not downwards. You know, we don't want to accept less. We want to earn more, not accept less. That's always my takeaway of my standards. I want my standards to rise 5% every year. So I'm always earning more. And I don't just mean financially, just in life and value. More relationships, more strength, more structure, more recovery, more education. It's more of everything. So I'm always looking to get 5% more in every aspect of my life, and that's my standard for myself. If I have not improved 5% in every aspect of my life, I need to take a hard look at myself and say, hey, somewhere along the way, I let go of my standards. Because that is my goal. 5% improvement across the board every year, and that's how I look at it. 5% more as far as business, 5% more as far as strength, 5% more as far as education, quality of life, relationships, and so forth. How could I get that 5% more? And it's not what I need other people to do, it's what I need to do less of. What do I need to do less of that is distracting me from those goals? And that's how I set my standard. What can I eliminate and not do? Hence why I don't watch very much TV at all. You know, very little TV in my life. I just found out Sean Connery died like 2 weeks ago. I had no idea because I don't watch TV. Trebek I heard about because I guess people posted it, but I was busy doing things. I was busy progressing in life. So hopefully they're playing Celebrity Jeopardy up in the sky and Sean Connery can tell him rough the way your mother likes it, Trebek. I wrote a dirty limerick book. Do you want to hear it?
Anyways, I want to add to this before I forget it. And sometimes it's not necessarily about more, like what Trevor's talking about. Sometimes it's about better too. So maybe it may not be more relationships. Maybe it's better relationships. Yeah. Maybe it's not. I was gonna say more money, better money. That's about the same thing. But like, and sometimes it's not always about the amount, but it is the quality as well. So don't discount your progress, just like you allow other people to discount you. Don't discount your progress because it's maybe not as much as you would like. Also look at the quality of that progress. So that can be your strength. So even if maybe your total has only improved 5 to 10 pounds, look at your technique. Look at how it was a year ago versus today. Look at your rep maxes. Look at pretty much anything that you can.
How consistent you were. Maybe the changes you made in your nutrition. Maybe you had better sleep habits. All those are things that are going to bank towards that 5% later.
Yep. So it's you want more and better, not one or the other. You want both.
Yeah, absolutely.
Both of them.
Both of them. I'm so cool. I'm so hip. I know these terms. Both of them.
He gets it.
Mm-hmm.
He's with it. I'm cool.
I'm cool. I'm hip. I'm with it.
Sometimes I ask myself. Sometimes I ask myself what it would be like to date Dr. Evil, and then I remember that I am dating Dr. Evil.
Correct.
So, do we want to list off where we're going to be soon? Because I feel like last weekend started the whole travel everywhere.
Oh man,
schedule.
yeah, we are. Let's see, we are in San Diego this weekend at Ironmonger's Gym for that competition. Then we have a nice little reprieve for a couple weeks through the holidays of November. And then December, getting ahead of myself. Mm-hmm. December, we are some of the first 3 weeks of everything. The wall's behind you, it tells you what we're doing.
Yeah, I think December 5th, we're in Fort Lauderdale.
Yep.
December 11th, we're in New York. December 19th, we're in Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Yeah, and then we take a break. And then January 23rd, Dallas.
Dallas at Hidden Gym for Coach's Corner Seminar.
Yeah, February, I don't remember the dates, but I know it's like Michigan, Iowa, and Miami.
Michigan, Iowa, the first 2 weekends, and then hybrid meet February 20th.
Yeah, so
22nd, something.
There's more other than that too, but basically we're gonna be everywhere.
Coming to you.
So that's exciting. Yeah. it has been. We are currently in a tropical storm warning. It's been really exciting. I caught a mini lizard today in my hand.
Cool.
I didn't catch the first one. The first one jumped on me and startled me a bit. And then Trevor almost killed him putting him outside, I think, because he crushed him too hard.
He was a baby. I used a little too much force. Sorry for manhandling the baby's lizard.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the day. So if you're going to be at any of those seminars or anywhere that we're going, let us know or say hi when we get there, introduce yourselves, because that's cool. We like people, I guess.
I'm getting there. I'm working on my people skills.
But thanks for tuning in for episode 12 of the Successory Show. We will be recording the next one for next week. I don't know what we're doing.
Well, we come back Monday, so chances are we'll probably either record it Monday or record it before we leave.
Yeah, whatever. That's fine. So
work on your standards, woman.
It's throwing me off. I'm very tired. I still haven't gotten not jet lagged, I feel. So yeah, that's the end of episode 12. Thank you guys for tuning in. Like and subscribe to
5-star review.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Is that we're on YouTube. Yeah, we're on YouTube too, so you can like and subscribe. Leave a 5-star review. Share the podcast if you see it. Tell your friends. Tell your mom. Tell your dad.
Say hi to your mother for me.
Okay, bye.